Talkin Money. And here's Jeff Tarbell.
Chris, you know this song too?
Justin Timberlake. I mean, I don't know.
This is a great skating song. Were you here during our skating conversation, Chris? Were you here that week?
Fortunately, I wasn't.
You're a skater, aren't you? Hey, look at the text line there, Chris, from the 916. Let's have a Hunger Games for Death Row. First off, I don't know the Hunger Games stuff, but I'm sure Chris does because he was an expert on the Titanic movie. Do you know Hunger Games stuff, Chris?
From what I know, it's kids killing each other.
Okay, so all I know is that my daughters have read these books and they've gone and seen the movies, and my mother is horrified that her granddaughters are watching these movies, I think, and I am not up on the Hunger Games, so I don't know your reference, but the reference was, let's have a Hunger Games for death row inmates. The last one standing gets to go to Club Med for cons. That doesn't mean anything to me. I don't get any of that reference there, but I'm sure you do, and I'm sure somewhere along the line, that's funny as hell, but I don't get it. So, and I'm looking there, they don't get it either. So this is a non-Hunger Games crowd. Yeah, Chris,
it's Gladiator style, I believe.
Is that what it is? Okay. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140 is our number here in the studio. And we got some school voucher people on hold there. So as we start a second hour of every show, back to the mind of Christopher Laud, 30 seconds on geopolitical events or whatever he wants to talk about. Go ahead.
Hunger Games, no.
We're doing all hunger, all hour.
A couple days ago was the anniversary of Osama bin Laden being killed, and then people were getting into a huff about Barack Obama running an ad saying that what would Mitt Romney do, which is kind of a douchey move to do, I think. But the people that are getting upset would do the exact same thing in a second. And we all saw the George W. Bush commercials in 2004. So this just fake like the Democrats saying, "Oh, you guys did the same thing," and Republicans says, "Oh, we never did that. We would never do that." You guys are all the same. So just calm down. We all remember it wasn't even like it was that long ago. So just shut up. It's all going to be over in November. So just don't take us off.
If you heard last week's show, I said I read off the states that are really the only states that are in contention between the two parties. There's like 11 of them. So we've already, they've already figured out that these states will vote this way, these states will vote this way. There's only 11 that are in contention. So my contention is we're not one of those states. We don't want to hear any ads. Leave us out.
Perfect.
We'll just. I already know that California is going to vote for Obama, whether you like it or not. So you know what? Just write it in and cut us off the advertising train if you don't mind. And we'll just continue on down the road and see what the 11 states want to do. I guess that's where we stand. So. And by the way, douchey is an official term of the station. Yeah, so you can get that. Again, that's Christopher Laud at cbsradio.com. We have a couple people on hold, patiently holding. Let's get to JT is calling in on the school vouchers. You there, JT?
Yeah, I'm here. How are you doing?
Good. What's happening?
Well, I want to talk about the fact that you were saying that we spend a lot of money on education, but when you're looking per capita by state, we're like 49th in spending. Some states double our ADA spending. And when you really look at what happens in California, we've had a 40% reduction in student spending on K-12 over the last 10 years.
Okay.
So if you look at 40%, I don't care any business you can go to, you get a 40% decrease in your operating expenses, or your operating income.
Right.
You're going to continue to have a quality product. And on top of that, a lot of our money in California goes because of Proposition 13.
Right.
You have under-enrolled high schools who the neighborhoods never turn over. People are penalized to sell their house and move to Palm Springs, so they stay in their house. So you have a high school like Encina High School that it's built to hold 1,700 students. It only holds 800 students. In the meantime, we have to build 12 new high schools in Elk Grove in the last 10 years.
Right.
Those are billions of dollars that didn't go to teachers, didn't go to students, didn't go to books. We want to build a new high school so that we can protect Proposition 13, which is important because nobody wants to protect that. So it is an unintended consequence. So when we look at what we spend in California, and we also need to realize that in California, a big part of our economy is the tech sector. They're only here because we have one of the best university systems in the country, and that they could get highly qualified people into those positions. So as we continue to cut education, now we're affecting our university system. Our kids can't get classes. It's cheaper to go back east to private schools now than to some of the UCs and CSU.
Yeah. So JT, let me ask you because college is a different animal than public education, but they feed one.
When you look at state spending.
No, I got you. So the way we have to discuss state spending on students is not by gross dollars because we have less students today than we had when I was in high school. So we have to look at a per student spending. I think.
Well, no, and that's what I'm talking about. When you look at there's certain states that spend over $10,000 a student. We've gone from $7,000 a student 5 years ago to just around $4,400 coming up next year.
Okay, so are you?
In the meantime, I mean, we're talking about everything has been cut in education. You have people doing 5 different people's jobs at the same time, and I think people don't really feel the effects because every time there's a cut, the cut is made the year before, and you don't start to feel the effect of the cut until the next year. And parents have stepped up, PTAs have stepped up, and the problem with a voucher system is that right now you have school choice, like. It really is an open market. There's charter schools. There's open enrollment. You can go. You don't have to go to the school in your district. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. However, when you enter a school like that, you have to be accepted. So we're not talking about public education where it's first come, first served. If you try to go to another school district school, they have to accept you into that school. So we're talking about creating an elitist system. And the same thing will be with vouchers. If you gave everybody a voucher, Jesuits not going to let every kid in. They're not going to have a college selection process. They're going to be very selective on who they let in, and there's a lot of factors that'll come in.
Or maybe
income, where you're from, who your family is.
Or maybe a Jesuit will create 2 Jesuits if there's enough demand, and they'll say, you know what,
and it could be, but they still can be selective on who they take and who they don't take.
Right.
And because they're a private institution, they're not required to tell you what their selection process is. It's like any private university. Private universities are very, if the average person tries to apply, they have to be highly qualified. However, we know that people who fund, who are donors and whatnot, can get students who wouldn't normally qualify for that university into a university on legacy systems.
So, JT, I got to go in just a second, but let me ask you one pointed question. So, because somebody might not get into Jesuit because of the screening process, we shouldn't have any free choice at all. I mean,
I think what we should have is a market system, and it's proven that way. If you look at a strategic school funding reform, which is a pilot program in the state, it's basically giving an individual school all its money to basically figure out how to work things. And if you look at what they've done in L.A., is they've gone to CBOs controlling school districts. They're really getting rid of the local district, and you let people choose where they want to go to school instead of being more attendance-based. Do you live in this neighborhood? It's basically first come, first serve. People
right.
Come to a school. If you have a good school, people come to it. If you don't have a good school, people don't go to it.
All right, JT, I'm going to put you on hold because I really like and appreciate your comments, and you sound like you know exactly what's going on, and I like your perspective on things. So, JT, Chris, if you get JT's information there, we'll send him out to ask if he wants some IMAX or some River Cats tickets, or we'll get him something because I appreciate the phone call, and he had some good arguments there as well. So, appreciate that. That leaves a couple lines open at 339-1140 if you want to jump in, or 1-800-920-1140. You can text me at 441140, and that's still going crazy here, so I promised I'd read some of these here.